I've always been a man of logic and reason, a firm believer in the power of science and the human mind to explain the mysteries of our world. But there are moments, rare and unsettling, that force us to confront the possibility that perhaps there are things that defy explanation, things that lurk in the shadows and gnaw at the edges of our understanding. My encounter, which I'm going to tell you about, was one such moment, and it has left me haunted, questioning everything I thought I knew. It began on a dreary October evening when the sky was painted with dark, brooding clouds that threatened to unleash their torrential downpour at any moment. I had just returned home from work, the chill of autumn nipping at my heels as I hurried inside, eager to escape the impending storm. The wind whispered through the trees, its voice a haunting melody that echoed through the empty streets. Inside my small but cozy home, I lit a fire in the hearth, the flames casting flickering shadows on the walls as they danced to their own hypnotic rhythm. I settled into my armchair, a worn but comfortable refuge from the world outside, and lost myself in the pages of a book. The rain began to fall, a symphony of droplets that drummed against the window pane, setting the stage for a night of eerie solitude. As the hours passed and the storm raged on, I became increasingly absorbed in the chilling story that unfolded before me. Each turn of the page seemed to draw me deeper into the narrative, the atmosphere of the tale perfectly complemented by the tempest outside. It was a night that seemed almost custom-made for a macabre tale of suspense and horror. My immersion was interrupted by a faint, hesitant knock at my front door. I paused, my fingers gripping the edge of the page as I strained to hear the sound again. There it was, the soft, rhythmic tapping of knuckles against wood. It seemed strange for anyone to be out in such inclement weather, and I couldn't help but feel a twinge of unease. Reluctantly, I set my book aside and rose from the comfort of my chair, my footsteps muffled by the thick carpet as I approached the door. The knocking continued, growing ever so slightly louder and more insistent with each passing moment. With a deep breath, I unlocked the door and pulled it open, revealing two small, drenched children standing on my doorstep. The rain had soaked them to the bone, their clothes clinging to their small frames as rivulets of water streamed from their hair. The boy, who appeared to be no older than 10, wore a tattered flat cap and a threadbare coat that seemed to belong to a different era. Beside him stood a girl, perhaps 8 or 9, her once white dress now stained and sodden. They kept their heads bowed, their faces obscured by the wet, tangled strands of their hair. As I studied them, a growing sense of unease gnawed at the pit of my stomach. Despite their seemingly pitiable state, something about their presence felt inherently wrong, as if they were a jarring note in an otherwise harmonious melody. I asked them if they needed help, offering to let them inside to dry off and use my phone to contact their parents. For a moment, there was nothing but silence. The rain continued to fall, the droplets battering the ground like a relentless drumbeat. Then, the boy raised his head, revealing a pair of eyes that were devoid of any warmth or humanity. They were pitch black, lifeless orbs that seemed to stare directly into my soul, sending shivers down my spine. The girl followed suit, her eyes equally chilling and unnatural. "We need to come in," the boy said, his voice a monotone that carried no hint of emotion or inflection. "We won't stay long, we just need to call our parents." My heart pounded in my chest, a primal fear taking hold of me as I stared into the abyss of their eyes. Every instinct I had screamed at me to close the door, to lock it tight, and forget that I had ever seen these children. There was something profoundly wrong with them, something that threatened to shatter the fragile boundaries of my reality. I hesitated, my hand gripping the edge of the door as I struggled to make a decision. I don't think I can help you," I stammered, my voice barely audible above the relentless rain. "I'm sorry." The girl frowned ever so slightly, the emotionless tone in her voice growing even colder. "Please let us in," she insisted, her gaze never wavering from mine. I could feel my hands trembling, my breath coming in shallow gasps as the fear threatened to overwhelm me. Summoning the last of my courage, I refused their request once more, slamming the door shut and quickly locking it. I backed away, my heart racing as the knocking resumed, growing louder and more insistent with each passing moment. The rain continued to pour, the wind howling outside as the storm reached its crescendo. The knocking persisted, accompanied by the eerie, emotionless voices of the children pleading to be let in. I retreated to the furthest corner of my living room, my eyes locked on the door as if expecting it to burst open at any moment. The terror that gripped me was unlike anything I had ever experienced before, and I prayed for the storm to end, for the night to pass, for the nightmare to be over. As the hours dragged on, the storm began to subside, the rain tapering off to a steady drizzle, and the wind dying down to a gentle breeze. The knocking too had ceased, leaving me alone with the sound of my own ragged breaths. I didn't dare move for a long time, my body stiff from fear and exhaustion. Eventually, I mustered the courage to peer out of the window, my heart pounding in my chest as I searched for any sign of the children. To my relief, they were gone, vanished as though they had never been there at all. The street outside was empty, the lingering shadows of the storm retreating before the first light of dawn. But the terror of that night remained, a haunting memory that would never truly fade. In the weeks that followed, I sought answers, delving into the countless stories and legends surrounding the black-eyed children. While some details varied, the core elements remained the same: the unsettling appearance, the emotionless voices, and the unrelenting insistence on being let in. The consequences of granting their request were left to the imagination, a chilling reminder of the horror that could have befallen me had I given in to their pleas. The truth behind the black-eyed children remains elusive, a mystery that lingers at the edge of my consciousness like a sinister shadow. I have moved away from that house, unable to bear the thought of another encounter with those terrifying, lifeless eyes. But the memory of that night haunts me still, an unanswered question that gnaws at my once skeptical view of the world. And on stormy nights, when the wind whispers through the trees and the rain beats against my window, I can't help but think of the black-eyed children and the horrifying legend that has become a part of my life. The door remains locked, the curtains drawn, and the fear that they might return to finish what they started lingers like a specter in the recesses of my mind. I find myself glancing over my shoulder more frequently, unable to shake the feeling that they might be watching, waiting for another opportunity to knock on my door. My once skeptical heart skips a beat at the sound of unexpected knocks, the shadow of that encounter looming over me. As the years pass, the memories of that night remain etched in my mind, an indelible stain on my psyche. I have tried to move on, to push the experience to the back of my mind and convince myself it was just a figment of my imagination. But the fear is always there, lurking just beneath the surface, a constant reminder of the night when my world was turned upside down. The legend of the black-eyed children has left a lasting impact on my life, turning my once rational world into one tinged with darkness and uncertainty. It has forced me to confront the possibility that there are things in this world that defy explanation, things that prey on our deepest fears and challenge the boundaries of our understanding. Perhaps one day, the truth behind the black-eyed children will be revealed, the secrets of their existence unraveled, and the terror they inspire laid to rest. But until that day comes, I will continue to live in the shadow of that harrowing encounter, ever vigilant against the unexplained and the unknown. And on stormy nights, when the wind howls and the rain lashes against my window, I can't help but remember the chilling, emotionless voices of the black-eyed children and the sinister, unanswered mystery that has forever changed my life. As the darkness of night envelops the world outside and the wind whispers its chilling secrets, remember that sometimes the most terrifying stories are those that remain shrouded in mystery. What do you think lurks behind the legend of the black-eyed children? Are they a figment of our darkest fears, or do they represent something far more sinister and inexplicable? Share your thoughts in the comments below, but beware, for they may be watching. If you dare to delve deeper into the shadows and face the unknown, don't forget to give this video a sinister like and subscribe to our channel. But remember, as you journey with us into the realm of the unexplained, there is no turning back. So, sleep with one eye open and prepare yourself for the chilling tales that await. Sweet nightmares.